Okay, so if you clicked on this video, you know that we're doing a countdown of the top 20 Ghibli films, and I've brought with me a YouTuber called David in Osaka.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not getting any money for it, so.
But
I'm professional.
You've got like over 500 subscribers.
Well, I've got the chops, have I?
Yeah.
Good.
So,
okay,
anyway,
thank you.
So we're going to chat about YouTube. I'm not going to chat about YouTube.
Ghibli.
We'll chat about Ghibli
Sorry,
today.
I'm taking over already.
Go for it. So before we do the top 20, I want to ask you, how did you first get into Ghibli?
I feel like it's a fairly recent thing, but actually when I'm thinking about it, it's about 20 years now. I think it was when I was in university, Spirited Away got the Academy Award for the best animated, whatever it was, featured.
Yeah.
And that kind of piqued my interest. I'd always been interested in Japanese things. Like when you're a kid, you watch like Saturday morning cartoons. You don't necessarily know it's Japanese, but
right.
something about it
feels different.
So
that was the thing with Astro Boy for me, because I knew it was Japanese, even though they've got the strongest American accents possible.
So I wanted to see that, and that was during my big eBay boom as well. So I think I got a box set of maybe the first 10 or 12 Ghibli films on like a dodgy VCD from Hong Kong. So just went through those and kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah, I mean that's the first. I think the first I heard of them was on a review show where they were reviewing Spirited Away. So, and I remember thinking this looks like the sort of thing I would like.
Right, yeah.
But it took me a little while to actually watch it. I didn't watch it at the cinema. I watched it at home on.
Yeah. I can't think of the first one I saw at the cinema. Maybe I didn't see Spirited. Probably Howl's Moving Castle, I think.
That's the same for me.
Kind of got a bit more of a wider.
Yeah. Release or
release. It's a wide opening. That's a different thing.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, I think that's the same for, I guess, a lot of us outside Japan.
Yeah.
But unless of course you're, one of those anime fans from the 80s who kind of go they watched Akira and they watched, all of those things that, I didn't watch.
I think Americans got a bit of a head start because I think Kiki and Totoro were kind of popular there already.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never heard those in the UK.
No, but anyway. So that before I spoil the list. Again before the list, I want to talk about I don't think either of us have watched it, but the lowest rated one I found. So the list is based on the IMDB. Now David's made a list of his own, and he does have a video about Ghibli, several videos about Ghibli on his channel.
I can subscribe.
So please go check them out, because if you want to live vicariously because you can't afford to come to Japan, you can go to the Ghibli Park with David. So anyway, so I wanted to briefly mention, 4.8, the lowest rated one is, I think what it's called?
Earwig and the Witch.
Earwig and the Witch, which I haven't watched because it looks so weird.
I have, for my sins, I watched it last year.
Oh, there you go.
I can see why it's different. It's definitely, it's all CGI as well, which is, they've dabbled with CGI in Ghibli before, but not in the way we normally think of DreamWorks animation, something like that.
No, because I think the special features Miyazaki would say there should be just used sparingly, like he would say use only about 10% of CGI, but
it was a bit rough. It wasn't a very nice story. I think all the characters seemed to be quite mean and horrid, so I had a bit of trouble getting on board with the protagonist.
Yeah, I mean, but then I guess you can see, after, Miyazaki left, you can see his influence by when he's not there, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's
his son, right?
Yeah.
Which one of his films will come onto our list, but
Will it? Oh, good.
but yeah, I was going to say another one which I didn't think worked that well, which doesn't appear on our list, but I'll mention it, is Tales from Earthsea, which is his son's first.
I think it was the first one.
Yeah. So, like my roommate.
Not your roommate.
No, but it stinks. Yeah, it wasn't that great, but I mean, it looked nice.
Yeah, it looked good. It was just quite boring. I think I fell asleep the first time I watched it, which is awful. But
so, yeah, because I think when it was coming out, my roommate said, like, okay, he actually had like a mini series that was made, I guess, in America or England, which had some famous names that I forget. But anyway, that honestly, watching the mini series before watching the movie itself meant that I actually kind of knew what happened in the movie.
Okay.
Because it's like this big long story, and they only
it's quite
skim over the
condensed,
top.
right? It's this, not just one book. It's a book adaptation, I think.
Yeah.
I heard it's quite a popular book in Japan, but I've not heard of it before.
No. So anyway,
Yeah.
so we've kind of got our dishonourable mentions. Let's get into the list now. So starting with number 20. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to mention another one. But anyway, starting with number 20 is, speaking of Miyazaki Goro, is From Up on Poppy Hill with 7.4, and from just shy of... oh, wait a minute.
Does it really count?
Sorry. No, okay, so number 20 is... Sorry, okay.
Okay.
So, I might keep that in because it's funny. But anyway, so number 20 is My Neighbour the Yamadas.
Oh, that's a shame. I like that one. It is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
Have you seen all of these? Or?
No, I haven't seen all of them.
Okay.
But my partner keeps telling me to watch them. They're all the raccoons, right? Is that the one with the raccoons?
No, My Neighbour's the Yamadas is kind of like a, I don't know, Simpsons-esque, like vignettes.
Okay.
And it's done in a kind of hand-drawn style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks really sort of sketchy. I think that's what's his name? Ishi.
Yeah, it's one of his.
What's his name? It's gone completely out of my mind.
I know. I should actually have.
Ishikawa?
Yeah, I should have brought that up on IMDb.
Okay.
But yes,
Completely.
that fellow. Wait a minute.
Ishihata. No. Never mind. Having a moment.
No, I think.
Takahata, that's one.
Takahata Isao.
Yeah.
But
He was just some interesting ones, and that was experimental, I'd say.
That's
it's
right.
quite cute. I mean, it doesn't really stand up as like a I don't know, proper film, but it's sort of like a anime style vignettes.
I mean, I'm curious to watch it.
That's cute.
And I do quite like his that drawing style, which I think is kind of similar to another one of his films that will appear a bit later.
I shall not say. Yeah, it's funny because those two films, they're completely different conceptually, but you can see the art style being experimented in Yamada's. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that was 7.1 of a rating from only 15,000, so it's probably a bit underseen.
Yeah, I think some of my Japanese friends don't know what I'm talking about if I mention it.
Pity. Okay, so then From Up on Poppy Hill, which got 7.4 from around about 49,000 voters. So which is Goro's best rated movie. I haven't watched it because I heard it was a bit of a snooze fest, but it is written by his father, and
is it?
it's beautifully, beautifully animated.
Yeah, I'd agree with that being the best Goro Miyazaki film, but actually I quite liked it.
So there you go.
I liked it, yeah.
I should probably watch it.
The first time I watched it, I was, it was fine. But I did a bit of a rewatch last year, and I really went up in my estimation.
Oh,
it's
good.
a bit of a strange subplot, which I'm not going to go into, but a bit of a weird left turn that doesn't go anywhere. But yeah.
Oh, I'll check it out because I quite like using the GIFs.
Oh, really?
From the film.
Yeah. Justice for Poppy Hill.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, 7.4, that's pretty highly rated. So.
Yeah, even the lowly rated ones are still pretty good.
There's not... Yeah, it's quite...
Ewigan the Witch is...
4.8.
Yeah.
Like, it's an outlier. The other one that's a bit of an outlier that people didn't like was a documentary that they made after Nausicaa. It's a live-action documentary.
One about canals?
Something like that. Yes.
Passion projects.
Yeah, that
I
wasn't...
didn't watch that one yet.
It wasn't appreciated by the fans. Okay, now, I'm not sure if you've seen this or not, so maybe at the end of this you can say which of us is the bigger otaku. So, at number 18... So is Lupin the Third, the Castle of, I'm going to mess this up, Caligostro? Anyways.
Let's go with that, yeah.
Let's go with that. It got 7.6 and from about 32,000 voters. I actually don't know if I've watched it or not. I have watched Lupin the Third, which was animated by Miyazaki.
I think that's the one. I think he's only done the one film. Oh, you mean the series?
The series.
Okay,
I think I've watched something.
That, yeah.
Like, because my ex, who introduced me to Totoro, also introduced me to Lupin the Third, and I enjoyed it. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I got that kind of... I think it's a pre-Ghibli one, but it's like Miyazaki, so it's kind of Ghibli adjacent.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just I think if you like Lupin, it's fairly solid entry. I've not really got into Lupin that much, but
it's sort of a Carmen Sandiego thing from my generation, I guess.
Like an old,
like Aladdin, I guess.
Old fashioned, but it's
like
kind of spy movie almost.
Yeah, it's a spy thing. It's sort of this thief.
Daring do.
Yeah, it's if I ever have to teach what sideburns are, I always use Lupin as the example.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fun and I think it deserves its score. So the next one is, I think we're going back to the same fellow. It's Only Yesterday.
Oh really? That's quite I think that's one of the lesser known ones too.
It is a lesser known one.
That's
again,
Takahata, isn't it?
Yes. So Takahata, and so that was that was, when was it? It's before the Yamadas.
Just like a start of the 90s, I think. Around that time.
Yeah, 91. So that also got 7.6, but it had 35,000 votes. So if you watched the Disney one I did, this is the same system. If it gets the same score, the one with more votes, because on IMDb, the more it's harder to get to maintain a high score with more votes.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's good. It's democratic.
Yeah.
I really like that film. It's I mean, it's not one of the ones where, if you think of Ghibli, you're thinking like fantasy action, something like that. Although I think there's probably some high-ranking ones on this list that don't fit that at all.
No, but
Only Yesterday is quite a gentle, sentimental.
Right, but they have those films too, right? But I guess they don't get as much recognition from the fans.
I think that's why I like it though. Not because they don't get recognition, but just having that different pace. I mean, I've grown up watching Disney and Pixar movies, and everything's high stakes all the time, and it's 3-act structure, all that. And when it doesn't do that, it's kind of refreshing.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, now I've watched this one. It's The Secret World of Arrietty at number 16. Again, 7.6, but with 99,000 votes. Speaking of which, like, I would... Now, this sounds like I'm criticising it, but I would call this a rainy day Sunday afternoon movie.
Yeah.
So, you know...
There's a time and a place.
There's a time and a place for it.
A home on a Sunday.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
you know, like...
Not very challenging.
No, but it's sort of a Thumbelina story, and again, it's beautifully animated. I don't remember much about the story, just remember it being very sweet.
Yeah, there's not much going on apart from... Did you ever have The Borrowers on TV?
It sounds familiar.
Young. It's just, like Thumbelina, so little people living in a house. I think it's based on that. But, yeah, it's fine. It's not something I really go back to. I've got a fascinating fact about this. This is showing my otaku points. I believe this is the highest grossing Ghibli film in America.
Interesting.
I wouldn't have chosen that if you put a gun to my head, but... No, I mean, like, would have guessed it. You know,
no, I wouldn't have thought so either. That's an interesting factoid.
I think it's just more of a reflection of post-Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, like wide release.
It's gotten that momentum, I guess, and it's probably like it's quite an accessible story.
That's true. I think that's true. That's all that matters really on the
That's
internet, right?
That's right. Well, you know, if it's not true, then someone will comment, which will help more people to watch this movie, and then more people to comment. So
interaction. It's all interactions.
That's right. So you get things wrong on purpose.
Can I do a quick tangent?
Go for it.
Do you like to watch the dubbed versions or the dubs or subs?
Subtitles. I came into it watching the dubbed versions, but especially for one we'll talk about later. But I think sometimes there's these little mistranslations or
they try and make it more westernized.
And it doesn't, and so you end up going like, huh, or like it's like they'll laugh for no reason. Then when you watch the Japanese version, it's like, oh, there's a joke in there. So
it's just too hard to translate, so they just skip to it. The reason why I ask is because I watched Arrietty in the cinema.
Yeah.
And it felt quite jarring at that time because it's Ghibli's very Japanese looking, even though the story's I think set in the UK or the writer was anyway. So it felt with his very British accents, they were talking. It felt something felt a bit jarring with me. So I think that might have been when I started doing subtitles.
There is one that I really like. I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of the dubs are these amazing actors. Like, they get some really, really good actors to do the dubs.
Right. Do you feel like it's sort of stunt casting?
Of course, but...
Like, who's going to watch this film if it hasn't got, you know...
Christian Bale
in it.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that one out of all of them? That's one of the...
I mean, he's one of the good ones, I guess, but...
You think so?
I don't know. Which one was he?
Wasn't he Howl?
Yes, I think so. But, you know, I mean, I like... Is it Howl?
I think it's...
I thought it was like a little bit before he was famous, but...
Oh, was it? Maybe
Anyway, it was another one.
Smoke.
Anyway, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there probably is stunt casting, but I don't know, like Billy Crystal as, speaking of Hal, Billy Crystal as the fire demon, I thought was perfect casting. I think he did really well. You know, it's just, yeah.
I always find it hard with famous voices on animations because you just end up thinking about the
person,
the actor a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just my lack of imagination or what, but it's distracting, you know.
It can be, yeah. That's where, like, that's the whole talk of, like, they've moved into a bit of stunt casting, whereas, yeah, there are, like, professional voice actors who are probably a lot better than, you know, an actor. But, you know, because it kind of worked with Toy Story, but then DreamWorks kind of just does it for no reason.
Right. So Aladdin's got a lot to answer for, I think.
Yeah. I think so, but...
Sorry to derail the conversation.
But like Robin Williams, even though he was a movie star, he really was a voice actor at heart, which is why it's sad that he only did very few films, animated films.
I think because he was so good in Aladdin, that's what forced the studios to try and recapture that in other things.
That's right. So now, so I think we've probably. It seems like a couple of them, maybe from Up on Poppy Hill and Only Yesterday, maybe a bit underrated, right? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the next one is where it should be, which is at number 15, Ponyo, which is at, again, 7.6, but now we're getting to like a lot more people watch it, so 155,000 votes. And I thought this was beautifully animated. It's obviously a Little Mermaid kind of a story, except done with like really little kids. And I'm probably not the audience for it because, you know, sometimes when I teach kids, I'll say like, "Oh, what's your favourite Ghibli film?" And I've noticed like as time has gone on, it used to be Totoro, and now a lot of kids are saying Ponyo.
Right.
So I'm guessing
it's that kind of vibe, isn't it? It's like pitched a bit younger.
Yeah. But I mean, the food looks good.
As always, yeah.
You know, which. You know,
I tried that thing with the putting the eggs in the ramen by myself, and it didn't work at all. It's really disappointing. Just like raw eggs sitting in my noodles.
Yeah.
I haven't got the Ghibli magic.
No, but it can be all right. But like, I think it has to be really hot so it sort of cooks and. Yeah.
Don't attempt this at home.
Especially not in your home country where like maybe your eggs are not cleaned, because I got all excited to have raw egg back in Australia and it went straight through me.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm still getting used to that, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're going to have raw egg, have it in Japan.
Oh, I'm getting used to raw eggs. I mean, not used to terrible diarrhea. So anyway, I like Ponyo though. It's a.
You like it?
Yeah, I can see that it's for a certain audience, but I don't know. I'll probably just watch anything. I like the aquatic setting for it, so it's.
Yeah.
The kids aren't too.
Grating or...
No. Well, I mean, some people think it's terrible, but not clearly. So.
No, I mean, I know it's. No, I mean, not my favourite. I mean. Yeah. Like, anyway.
I think for me, it's probably one of the best of the latter day Ghiblis. Let's say that's post Spirited Away. Sure.
I get that. I guess the trouble is they advertised it as if it were like Nemo, and I thought that kind of made it feel a bit like Nemo was a much better film, but I mean, maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll eat my words. And
I've been to the town, like the model town for Ponyo.
There you go.
There's like a proper fishing town you can go and see. It's
like in Hiroshima or somewhere.
Yeah, that's it.
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
The sea looks a bit more gentle than in the film.
So, do they have anything in the park for Ponyo, or is it more?
I didn't see a lot. It was you can see the locations pretty well, but the shops all had like Ponyo merch they're trying to vlog. So it was nice.
Sort of nice to pass maybe the little Ponyo in the bubble of water, I guess.
Yeah, things like that.
I can imagine that being like one of those things that you shake.
A snow globe.
Snow globe, yeah. I can see her being in a snow globe. Okay, so this is the new entry. So as of recording, The Boy and the Heron has 7.7 from 1,100 votes. So this could change as more people watch it. So you've actually reviewed it. I was thinking of watching it, even though my Japanese isn't that great, but I don't know, I've been a bit iffy.
It was just the feeling of, I can go see a Ghibli film in the cinema, even though I'm sitting there going, okay. I think I could enjoy it on like a superficial level.
Yeah.
And kind of understand what the story was a little bit, but
because it's sort of like you can get the story from the image. I think. I assume.
I feel like I'm watching it like a kid would watch it. They might a lot of it's going over their heads, but they can enjoy what's
the colour and movement.
Yeah, that's all I can. Yeah.
But I'm very curious to watch it because obviously I wasn't expecting him to come back.
Right. I don't think it's even come out in America yet. So.
No, that's in December. So
that's why there's so few people.
I know. So you might get a bunch of people watching your video. Hopefully, when December rolls around. Speaking of which, is at number 13 with 7.7 now with 903,000 votes is Kaze Tachinu, The Wind Rises, which, speaking of which, I watched that in the cinema with my partner, and it was all in Japanese, and
that'd be hard to watch anything in Japanese.
It was, but at the same time, you did kind of. I don't know. So I probably should rewatch it with the subtitles to actually get the story, but. The story that I made up in my head as I was watching it, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the experience. It's beautifully animated, and obviously it's one of his because he loves flying, and it's a flying movie, and
right, he loves his planes and aircraft,
and it's a kind of a love letter to the creator of the Zero Sen, which was used for the kamikaze. Which is kind of... Anyway, it's a controversial figure, but I guess it sort of puts him in this sort of... I guess... It showed him as being a little bit detached from reality. And, just this scientist who...
the character.
The character just really, really focused on this one thing. And, the whole thing with the wife was just... very sad. But it was sweet, and I guess I learnt something about Japan with having the boss marry them.
It's one of those. Oh yeah, that was. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
it's one of those sort of. More, we've gone from Ponyo to kind of a more adult.
So the
themes,
total opposite, right?
So I kind of put that in a bit of a box with Porco Rosso as well. It's that kind of serious flight movie.
Yeah.
Of course, that's got a bit more fantasy element to it, but.
But again, another flying movie. But one of the few sort of films about adult characters.
I'd agree with that. Kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I probably need to watch it with the subtitles so I don't just have my own story.
I'll end it to you because you finally got into it.
Now, speaking of which, the very next one at number 12 is Porco Rosso, with 7.7 from 97,000 views, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think this is incredibly underrated because I love this movie.
I think it's one of those films where someone who likes it's really going to like it, and people are not interested. It's not much to cling on to.
Right.
For them, but
because
it's certainly a particular type of thing.
Yeah, I think it appeals to a certain person.
Right.
And as I've noticed, again, when I talk to some of my adult students, I have noticed that, because I use it teaching under and overrated, and I noticed that women all say it's overrated and men all say it's underrated. So I think this is definitely a film if you are a male XY person.
I taught someone the other day and they had a Porco Rosso pen.
There you go.
I was like, clocked it.
Yeah. But I genuinely like that movie.
This is what I mean about The Wind Rises too. It's got that kind of, I don't want to say retro, it's that played out, but old-fashioned romance angle to it.
It's very Showa. Like there's a lot of... he all of his films, I think, romanticize the pre-electricity or like early electricity kind of era.
The thing I always think is interesting about Porco Rosso, I don't know if this is a spoiler, probably not. I mean, the guy's a pig. I think that's just on the poster. But if it was a Disney or Pixar movie, the whole thing would be about how's he going to find out how to not be a pig anymore? How's he going to break the spell? I don't know what it was.
But we don't know, because he may be or may not be a pig at the end.
Right.
But we just... And it's up to us to decide, and, you know... Oh. So it's more of a... like a Shrek thing, I guess, where, you know...
But even that's quite on the nose, like there's a spell to break or like
exactly.
or not. But it's
that
kind
one,
of like,
you don't know.
It doesn't even really talk about it. It's just, oh, by the way, he's a pig.
He's a pig.
It's mostly. Is it better be a pig than a Nazi? Is that what they?
Yeah.
Quote they pull from that one. So.
That's right, but yeah, I don't know. Like, and that could be the point why maybe some women can't get into it, because it's
it's kind of a masculine film, I suppose.
Yeah. Don't want to end up with a pig in the end.
Right. Men are pigs.
Men are pigs. There you go. I mean, that's very on the nose, isn't it? But anyway, I liked it. Now this is one. So the next one at number 11, at 7.8 with 69. So maybe a little bit underwatched, and I haven't watched it, even though I worked where this is set. Is Mimi something, Whisper of the Heart.
Oh, okay, yep. The violin one, right?
The violin one.
I always get a little bit confused with Only Yesterday and Whisper of the Heart, because they've kind of got that vaguely romantic title. Is that the violin one? Yeah.
Sorry.
Where was that set then?
I think I've been told it's in Tokyo in Tama.
Okay.
So Tama Center, which is sort of West Tokyo, and which is still a very, you know, small town.
Suburban.
Yeah.
I think I've been there actually.
Have you?
That's funny.
Everything closes at like 7:30, except for you've got two options after 7:30 in Tama. You've got yakitori, like chicken skewers, or you've got Jonathan's, which is a kind of Japanese Denny's, which I miss in Osaka because I think Jonathan. Yeah, it was good. So if I go to like a family restaurant, there are certain things I miss from Jonathan's.
Right.
So I think like, oh, why can't I get... No, that was a Jonathan's. But
today's video is sponsored by Jonathan's.
Woohoo! There you go. Yeah. I mean, they may not like my Royal Host video about eating the Marilyn's favourite meal from them.
Okay. Check that one out.
You should.
Yeah. I live quite close to a Royal Host, so...
We're neighbours. So, but yeah, no, you should check it. It's actually genuinely very nice, and it's quite filling. So if you want to watch it, maybe I'll pop it somewhere here. But you know, please go check it out if David does it.
I do. It's got one view for me. That's right. So Whisper of the Heart, yeah. You haven't seen it then?
No, I haven't seen it.
I feel like that's quite one of the famous ones.
Yeah.
In Japan, though.
Again, people have told me it was boring, so I didn't watch it.
Well, it's sort of grounded in reality, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of grounded in reality. So it's like a cute high school thing. It's got some, kind of got fantasy elements in it because it's kind of got a weird spiritual sequel.
Okay.
Have you heard the cat returns?
Yes, right. Yeah, because it's got the cat in it. I would like to watch The Cat Returns. That rather than Whisper of the Heart sometimes gets played in Australia.
Right. They're not really direct sequels, just still in the same
same universe.
Cinematic universe. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if you did have a cinematic universe, they all sort of feel like there is a kind of. I suppose you would say there's a Ghibli universe.
I'm sure there's some video of someone trying to tie together all the Ghibli films.
Like the Pixar theory.
I
have to admit I do like the Pixar
I do read
theory.
them and listen to them, but... Oh, yeah, okay, fine.
But I think Pixar's kind of gone out of its way to ruin it, so...
Too many Easter eggs.
Yeah. But,
Whisper of the Heart's a nice nice relaxing moment. I think it's popular with a certain age demographic as well, because it came like a mid-90s film, so people grew up with that. They've had a few adaptations as well. I watched on last time I went to England on the plane. They had a live action remake / sequel to it, which was kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
But yeah, check that out.
Yeah, I've actually watched a live action of Princess Mononoke, which I genuinely liked. That was very, very good. I have not seen the live action of Spirited Away, but
is there one of those?
yeah, they did not a film, sorry, like a stage.
Ah, okay.
Like a theatre.
Yeah.
Adaptation.
Right.
But yeah, the Princess Mononoke one, that was done by I think it was like a high school or something, and then they had to get permission from Miyazaki to do it, and then I think they showed films of it, and it was so good that they brought it to Japan.
Wow.
And that's how I watched it.
Okay.
But yeah, that was genuinely good. It was a lot of puppets and stuff like that.
I suppose it'd have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But
yeah, genuinely good. Okay, so let's get into the top 10.
Oh, we made it.
Okay, and so number 10 is Kiki's Delivery Service.
A bit glare on it. You can see it.
Look,
There we go, good.
Anyway,
Kiki.
so Mahjong no Takubin.
Yeah, that's our Kiki.
That's
in
right.
English.
Now, for Japanese speakers, you're probably better than me. I thought this film was partially sponsored by a delivery company called Yamato, which is hence why you've got the black cat.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I know they've done a few collaborations before.
Yeah.
Porco Rosso, I think, was something for Japan Airlines.
I think so.
It's like a short film for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Kuroneko's in there.
where it is. There you go.
The cat, yeah.
Yeah, Black Cat Kuroneko. So, so I think the actual word for delivery is takuhaibin.
Takubin.
So
This one?
takubin.
Oh, this is like express delivery.
Yeah. So takubin is, I think,
Sorry.
just for that company.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Nice,
but yeah, takuhaibin. My teacher told me once. So I was like, don't say takubin for delivery.
Okay. Unless you go to Kuroneko.
Yeah.
And you're good.
They're the best company. So.
This video is sponsored by.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry.
Give me some money.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I genuinely like this movie. Like, I mean, obviously I own it, so I do like it. And I got to watch this at the cinema for the first time, so I did actually watch it in English.
Okay.
So I did watch it, because sometimes, so in Melbourne, Australia, the ACME, which is like Australia Centre for Moving Image, it's a museum for film, and so they have a cinema there, and they sometimes put on old films.
Is it that in England too? I think like London Film Institute or
there you go.
something.
It's probably
Institute.
a copy of that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I watched Kiki's Delivery Service, and I was totally taken by that. Although, as sometimes happens with these films, I don't understand why she likes Tombo.
Don't like Tombo.
Not particularly, but anyway, I'll believe that she likes him because he just seems very annoying. And then eventually, like she's just like, but then that happens, like someone annoys you, and then you're like, oh, but don't leave.
It's a fine line.
But and he, anyway, but yeah, it's just it's such
very charming,
very very charming.
Yeah.
And like, it's like so.
I think this is sort of, again, from a particular generation, people are really into it. I think I taught someone recently, they said they really want to visit Sweden, because that's what the model, like the city's based on, someplace in Sweden.
It's supposed to be in Sweden.
Yeah, and so she's obviously moved that much, she wants to fly and see it.
Yeah, because I've been to the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka in Tokyo, and I've seen some of their sketches, and he does pull from places all over the world. And like, if you do look along the coast of Japan, there are sort of places like this, like these small towns dotted along the coast.
European twist on it as well.
It does, yeah.
I don't know where pumpkin and herring pie comes from, or what was that gross pie they made?
Yeah. I don't know. But
that sounds like Swedish people might eat that.
It does sound like something that... But speaking again of like anti-electricity, you know, the two old ladies are going, yeah, we prefer things cooked by a wood fire. Now, of course, wood fire pizza is very nice.
It's great. It's charming. Got a love story. You've got magic. Possible. I don't know what's going on in the forest.
Yeah.
And there's blimp accidents. What more could you want?
What more could you want? So I'll say my favourite scene of this is the cats of Gigi pretending to be a toy cat. That, to me, that's like one of the funniest things in Ghibli. Right. And the old dog. There's actually two old dogs that I like in Ghibli films. So that old dog I really enjoy. Just because the dog knows.
There are a lot of good Ghibli cats, but there's not so many
dogs.
Ghibli dogs, right?
And the dogs tend to be old and wheezy, but I genuinely like the dog in Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah, I think that's a good entry level Ghibli if you want to get into Ghibli and want something a little bit older, but you're a bit scared of it being a bit hard to. No, it's very accessible.
Absolutely, I think you're right. Okay, so then at number 9 is, speaking of Isao Takahata, is another film I watched just in Japanese, is The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Oh, okay. That's quite high, I thought.
And yeah, it's got, Kiki's Delivery Service was 7.8 from 156,000, but The Tale of Princess Kaguya has got a clean 8 out of 10, but just from 51,000. Maybe we're going to have a similar point of view with this one.
I shall go.
What do you reckon?
It's one of those, I'm not going to say style over substance, because I think that's selling it a bit short, but it's very beautiful. Film.
Yeah, like Chinese watercolour. But animated.
So like on a visual level, it's amazing. And it took a long time to make as well. That was sort of delayed. But I don't know. Your mileage varies with the sort of folktale based ones, and
it's a very traditional story.
Yeah, which is fine, but it's long.
It
for me, I was feeling the burn a bit with that one.
Yeah, because if you haven't watched it, the story is like this. Kind of deity from the moon falls to Earth and becomes a human, and for this older couple who didn't have a child, and then she grows up with them, and I mean, I guess the moral is like the moral for a lot of these things, like she would have been better off with the local country boy stealing fruit and just staying in the country town.
She's got a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
She's got digging money out of the ground or something. That's also, that helps. But.
Yeah. I mean, like, instead of, going off to the floating world of the...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert on a 1,000-year-old folktale. I guess we don't need to worry about that.
That's right. Because, but they kind of spoiled it because the way they promoted it was this... There's this sort of 5 minutes or 3 minute sequence when she runs away.
Right, okay.
And, like, it is the best part of the movie. Like, it's just so beautifully animated. And, like, I have to admit that when I watched the whole film, I thought, it didn't quite live up to that moment.
I think it's, sold on the visuals more than the story. Because, I mean, how many times can you tell folk tales? You can... telling them the straight anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the old Disney twist and
That's right.
Or Shrekify it or whatever you want to do, but
no, it's
if it was
told pretty straight.
I think I would like it a lot more if it was a half hour short.
It probably does.
I could probably say that about most films these days. But,
yeah.
But it's still good.
Yeah, some are good hour shorter. Like what's it called? The anyway, there's a film that not the Pirates of the Caribbean.
That too.
But those people went and made another thing about like a cowboy and an Indian. Like
that Johnny Depp thing.
There's a Johnny Depp thing, and I watched
Lone
that.
Ranger?
Lone Ranger. Yes, I think there's a perfect 90-minute film inside that 2.5 hour movie.
Okay.
So, I would
have another pleasure. Yes, and get snip in.
Yeah, that's a movie that needs a very, very ruthless editor.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming up next, at number 8. Sorry, I'm getting there. Is the film which we can't say its name because it means something in Spanish.
Right.
But Castle in the Sky, let's call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that kind of works.
Castle in the Sky.
Yeah. So sometimes I get this film confused with other films like Nausicaa, and
it's kind of like the one of the earliest like Ghibli canon films. I think there's maybe Nausicaa and then
I think so.
I don't want to say the name, but
Castle in the Sky. Yeah. And the cover kind of spoils the ending.
Well, that's not the ending. That's right at the start, isn't it?
It may be in the start as well. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched it, but it's a nice movie. So that got that's 8 from 175,000 voters, and I'd say that's about right.
That's a sort of a solid anime movie.
Yeah, maybe after watching Kiki, you could watch this one because this sort of gives you that vibe of maybe like Princess Mononoke with that sort of Nausicaa with that sort of war at the end.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the pieces of Ghibli's future and what coming.
Yeah, and there is a castle sort of in the clouds in Japan called Takeda Castle.
Oh yeah.
So which I would like to go to. Maybe we're getting in. You've been there.
I've been there, yeah.
Woohoo. Did you go at the right time?
Yeah. I was lucky. I think. It's an interesting place. So it's a castle ruins in Hyogo Prefecture, close to Shinkansai, and if you go at the right time, it's on a very high hill and in a valley. So if the weather conditions are right, then the clouds there's a cloud layer in the valley, and then this castle ruins is just above the cloud top, so it looks like it's floating.
So hence the Castle in the Sky.
Yeah.
I
think this is a solid Ghibli. I'm not going to say too much about where I'd rank it because we'll get to that, but
but yeah, I think it's about right. I would keep it in the top 10, but not. I don't think it.
I feel when I say it feels like a regular anime, Ghibli films don't tend to have a obvious antagonist or like they're just definitely bad person. But I think this Castle in the Sky does, which is kind of interesting.
Yes. Yeah. Now I get kind of confused. Is this the one with the pirate ship led by the older woman with pigtails?
Yeah, that's the one.
So if you, I didn't realise that Ernest Hemingway is so big in Japan, and there's I think it's for Whom the Bell Tolls. There's I have a feeling that he watched the Gary Cooper and Ingrid Bergman version of Whom the Bell Tolls, which is it's not a great film, but there's a Greek actress who plays this, very tough Spanish older woman who's a resistance fighter, and she's kind of leading this kind of gang of resistance fighters. And my goodness, the woman with the pigtails is like the way she acts is exactly how the woman in For Whom the Bell Tolls acts. So that's a reference I can
Right.
I can actually say for.
That's good. This is why you're here.
There you go.
Yes.
Woohoo.
This is why it's your channel, right?
I've earned my keep. bit of the golden age references. So next, we've already talked about it at number 7 with a score of 8 with 177,000. Now this reminds me that I have the book. But anyway, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Oh, I think I've got the book too. Oh no, inside I've got like a little pamphlet thing
Oh,
inside
the
there.
pamphlet.
Totally different.
But, yeah, so I'll come out and say it. I think it's beautifully made, and I wish that James Cameron had put all of the Avatar money into remaking Nausicaa rather than remaking Pocahontas. But it's like a limited series comic book, and it's like I think the story would have been better told over a TV show rather than squished all in.
Right.
So,
It's sort of, yeah, but at least he's adapting it himself. He's got the Miyazaki. He's the.
That's right. He was the writer of the comic.
It's interesting to see that so high because I think often the older ones, well, you either get this kind of golden age effect of Ghibli or things get forgotten. But
it is a little bit underrated. So there's not that, compared to some of the other ones.
People don't talk about it that much compared to some of the other big hitters. But yeah, no, I like it a lot.
You like it a lot.
Yeah. That's pretty iconic as well. I think a lot of Japanese stuff. Because these things get repeated, Ghibli movies get repeated quite regularly on TV.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things from Nausicaa that get picked up, like the little this giant kind of bug monster, like woodlouse things. And the song.
The song.
She's remembering her childhood. that one's that's Castle in the Sky.
That's Castle in the Sky, but.
Nausica's the one with the flying glider things and a little EV thing on you.
Yeah, that funny little foxy thing with green eyes.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that's beautiful.
No, but they just have that giant, big monstery
They do have sort of monstery.
Sorry.
This is why I get confused.
They've got that kind of helmety looking head as well.
Yeah. So something. Let us know. Okay. So. Okay, we're getting into number 6, which this one surprised me. I thought this would have been in the top 3, or I thought this would have been number 1, considering how ubiquitous this is.
Right.
But yeah, it's a score of 8.1 from 362,000 votes.
That's a lot.
Yep. Can
okay.
you guess?
Right.
It's My Neighbor Totoro.
Really thought you were going to say something else, but
no.
Okay. We've got some Totoros here. I guess.
That's right, little mini chibi Totoro, which I genuinely like. Yes, so My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, it's gone rolling off now.
That's
right. An adventure.
It is. So I don't know what. So what do you reckon about because it's literally everywhere. My Neighbor Totoro.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the logo of Ghibli, right?
Yeah, and one of the back in Tokyo, this is years ago now. So, but there was a school that used the Sampo song as their school anthem. So the kids would sing it at school assemblies.
Okay, that fits, I think, yeah.
Aruko, Watashi wa genki. Nya 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 nya. So I don't know the rest of it.
Yeah, it's got that kind of motivation. It's very light.
It's very motivational, isn't it? Like
it came up on my iTunes when I was listening the other day, and I felt like I was having a bit of a stroll.
Yeah. So, now I mean this is an interesting one because paired with another film, like it's either a very very sweet film, but then if you look into it too much, it becomes a very sad film. I would say. But anyway, it's a nice film.
It's a sad film. Yeah, it's a nice film.
Because like if you remember, it was paired with another film, but
we'll get more on that later.
More on that later. Where does it rank?
But I think we talked about Nausicaä and the film must have been names.
Voldemort.
The Voldemort Ghibli. Being kind of fairly straight up action anime film, but I think Totoro's where it's not really a film about anything, especially.
No.
Well, I mean, it's not like there's not some driving plot. It's just there's a weird bear thing. I don't know what to call it, forest spirit, and they're having adventures. But then there's this other plot about their mother being sick, but it's just
they're trying to see their mum.
Yeah, it's more just like how you feel when you're a kid, I suppose. It's trying to capture that.
It does capture that, and I mean, this is a big thing in Australia. Being would be like I'll pop the image up. There's a painting of a girl being lost in the forest. So that being such a big country, and even today, most of us live in the cities. Being lost in the forest is quite a
it's a scary place.
It is, and so so I kind of get this idea. The sister getting lost, and then using this magical creature on the Neko bus, like the cat bus.
But there's not like an obvious threat. I think there's like bad situations occasionally, but it's not really.
Because I mean, I don't. If you go into the theory, like the threat is. There is a theory that this film is set after the atomic bomb has, and basically that the theory is that the mother is the only one who's alive in the movie.
Why are all these theories always about everyone's dead already? There was supposed to be like film theory. Maybe they all died right at the start of the film.
This is like debunked by Ghibli, but then it's a bit like Dave. Oh no, not David. John Lasseter saying that WALL-E is not about the environment.
What? What's it about?
It's not about the environment.
Robots, merchandise, probably.
Probably.
Maybe there's something in that.
WALL-E.
Yeah.
But So
I feel like Miyazaki's motivations often tend to be fairly straightforward. It's like
the
I want to make a film about this, or what that age was, sort of in the 50s. I think it's supposed to be like 50s or 60s, something like that, where people were still living in the country a little bit, but things were changing, and I think it does capture that feeling of when you're a kid and you can kind of accept things that seem insane, like having Totoro's wandering around, and the biggest threats are things like getting lost or your mum getting sick.
Exactly.
And that's
so I think you can watch it on. I don't think the theory ruins it. I think you just watch it on different levels. So anyway, it's a nice movie. Like even though I have Totoro stuff, it's actually not my favourite Ghibli film. I just like the characters.
I brought it up when we talked about Ponyo, but it feels aimed at kids in a way that other ones aren't. Younger kids than. But I feel like Totoro has more meat to it watching it as an adult than Ponyo does.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, Ponyo has a lot of meat, like ham and stuff, but Totoro is I don't know. I mean, I don't have kids, but you can feel it as the parent. You can kind of.
You can appreciate it.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah,
How to articulate it, but.
Yeah, it's like Ponyo's purely made for kids, whereas Totoro's made for the whole family. But even though it's focused on the kids, like it's
there's nothing hidden. Like if you're watching Shrek or something, like here's a cartoon for the kids, but there's also something about boobs that Dad's going to laugh at. You know.
We'll get to that. That's a bit later in another film. But okay, but anyway, I'm surprised it's not in the top 5.
Acclaimed ones, definitely.
But anyway, like the other ones, it's just like a tiny little thing that's separating them. So the next one is at number 5 with 425,000. We've talked about it. It's Howl's Moving Castle. And I'm going to come out and say this is probably the film I've watched the most. Even though when I first watched it at the cinema, I thought like, oh, this is a bit of a, you're trotting out your greatest hits from Spirited Away, but I've actually grown to love this more than Spirited Away. Maybe partly because obviously in the dubbed version, Lauren Bacall plays the Witch of the Waste, not the West.
Right.
The Wicked Witch of the Waste. And it also has, speaking of, old wheezy dogs, it has
I was thinking, wheeziest.
It's a very, very old, very wheezy dog.
Wheezy.
Which and he's a bit of a double agent because
I don't feel like that really gets resolved particularly well. It's just like, you're
now
that dog.
he's our friend. And I quite like that. I wish I had like a door that you could switch and go to different worlds.
I think Howl's Moving Castle was one of those examples when they're making, especially Miyazaki movies, he doesn't really know how he's going to finish the film, and sometimes it gets tied up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Whisper of the Heart definitely does that. I'm not going to say what happens, but Howl's Moving Castle definitely, it's like, oh, this pumpkin guy, he's really important, and war's over. I don't know. Your head's spinning by the end.
That's right. Like the turnip head guy. Suddenly he's
it's a bit like do you ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Do you know who Poochie is?
Yes.
So Poochie died on his way back to his home planet. It's very kind of tied up like that.
Yeah, it is a bit. I haven't read the book because it's a British author. Have you ever read the book?
Right. No.
Because apparently the castle moves, but doesn't like It does. It's not like hodgepodge the way it is in the movie. Which
it's like a
solid castle. Solid castle, but I mean, I find it hodgepodge quite charming. And the makeshift family, and I like Howl. I think it's.
I don't really know what I think of it at the moment, because I mean it was the big one after Spirited Away, so in some ways you're always comparing them a bit, and I don't think it comes off as well in that comparison.
No.
Something in it just doesn't quite do it for me.
Okay.
I the pieces are there, but I don't know what it is, but I always find it a little bit overrated.
Oh, there you go.
For me.
Fair enough.
Personally.
I guess I like it.
Yeah.
But I can see it feeling a bit overrated.
It's very sort of really leaning into the fantasy in a bit of a tropey way sometimes that I feel a bit like, oh, okay, that's good.
It is kind of trotting out the greatest hits.
Again, very visually appealing, but I don't know.
Like I just kind of like her being like a grandma, and now this is someone.
She's a good protagonist, I think.
She is. Now I'm going to have to look her up too because.
The voice actress.
The voice actress of the older.
What's her name?
Of the older woman.
Sophie. Sophie.
Yes, Sophie.
Sophie. Emily. Not Emily Blunt. It was the other Emily that was.
But when she gets old, that's actually a Golden Age star.
Oh, okay.
Not as big as not as big as Lauren Bacall, but also somewhat. I haven't been talking about the Japanese actors as much. Like this fellow with his eyebrows, who played.
I don't go to English ones.
Calcified.
Gene Simmons.
There you go. Wait a minute. And so Gene Simmons.
Is that also the guy out of Kiss? It's a different spelling.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Yep. So you're right. It is, but a different spelling.
So several other differences.
Is she a relative of yours?
Gene Simmons. No. No relation.
She, if you've watched my one on Roman Holiday, she was originally, before Audrey Hepburn, she was supposed to be the princess in Roman Holiday, but Howard Hughes wouldn't let her out of her contract. But anyway, she got to be in Howl's Moving Castle as Grandma Sophie. So yeah, and obviously you've got Lauren Bacall.
Emily Mortimer, that's who it is.
There you go. And what's her face?
What's her face?
So Blythe Danner.
Is it Gwyneth Paltrow's one?
Yes, that's right. So she's in it. So there's a quite a bunch of names. Like the Christian Bale is Howl, which I think is a good choice. Obviously in the Japanese one it's Kim Taku, who was in you've got that face of Kim Taku is kind of, if you've lived in Japan for any length of time, he is pushed down your throat a bit, and especially now with everything that's coming out about Johnny's, but
he's one of them, is he?
He was.
Look at his face there.
Kim.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's his nickname.
Yeah, Takuya Kimura.
Okay.
So I'll show a little bit of an embarrassing thing that I did when I first came to Japan. I said to someone, that I really liked the Japanese actor in 2046, and I was like, why can't there be, because he was very handsome and kind of more masculine. It's like, why can't there be more actors like him? Why do there have to be so many actors like Kim Taku? And then I found out that it was Kim Taku in 2046.
Versatile actor, I guess.
Yeah, so it depends on the role. Right. So, and he's going to be in he was in The Boy and the Heron as Shuichi Maki.
Yeah, I actually recognise. I don't know a lot of voice actors in Japanese cinema, but Boy and the Heron seem to have some quite famous names, singers as well. And
if you get a chance to be in a Ghibli film,
possibly the last one as well. Yeah, the last chance.
That's right. Although he did say he's going to make another one, possibly.
Did he? Well, that's
So I don't know if
it's like Cher farewell tours. He's always retiring.
I mean Elton John and a bunch of them are always retiring.
Yeah.
What's the joke? The 20th anniversary farewell tour. But I don't know. I should have seen Cher when she was on her last farewell tour. Okay, so
where are we now?
Is
that fifth?
That was the fifth one.
Okay.
So the next one is going to be a surprise. But anyway, because of the way I'm rating this, this is like Lupin, another series that got edited into a film. It's called Conan the Future Boy, The Big Giant Robot's Resurrection.
Okay.
So it's got 8.3 from only 733 voters, so which makes it number 4. So it's got nothing to do with Conan the Detective. So I'll try and find it.
Conan Future Boy.
I would say it's very underseen, but obviously the people who have watched it like it.
Mm.
It's from 1984. Obviously it's very Ghibli.
You can see the
It's got the water, it's
right.
got the birds, it's got so Miyazaki directed it. So what it's about, in the future some humans build a spaceship to abandon Earth.
again.
The spaceship crashed in an island isolated from the rest of the world. The story takes place when there are only 2 survivors on the island. So I guess it's the boy and the girl, and I'm sure it's not like this is going to date me, but what's it called? The Brooke Shields movie, Blue something. Anyway.
Can't help you, sorry.
Anyway, so it's going to date me. Brooke
Sahara?
Shields. No.
I feel like I've...
Blue Lagoon. There you go.
What's Blue Sahara? Is that a thing?
There is a movie called The Sahara. But anyway, yeah, Blue Lagoon is about...
Why would it be Blue Sahara? Oh, weird guess. I feel like I heard that a few days ago. It's like, blurt it out. Blue Lagoon.
Story of natural love. So it's obviously not
natural
to
love.
do.
Not unnatural love. Okay. Gets very lonely on the island sometimes.
Basically.
Oh, I haven't seen that one then.
No, it's not supposed to be very good, but...
I haven't seen...
Connor.
Future Boy Conan's Giant Robot Resurrection.
I don't think many people have.
Right.
I haven't seen it, but
Just seek that out from the archives.
Yeah, it sounds fine. I don't know if there's any famous Noriko Ohara, who's been in Doraemon, Macross. So
she was Doraemon.
Yeah.
Nobita.
In 1980.
Well, that's pretty big then. You're going to be Nobita in Doraemon.
That's right. So she's done a bunch of things.
Oh, look. Almost 3,000 episodes of Doraemon.
Well, there you go. So she was Nobita from 1979 to 2005.
Before they were famous. Or during the time that they were famous.
That's right. That's right. So famous voice actress. Okay.
We're on top 3.
We are. So, okay, sorry, this is a bit long, but anyway, that's fine. And I'm sure...
It's one of those all-night telethons.
It is! And I probably have a feeling this will be watched by more people than who've watched my feature film, which is probably of a similar length.
Watch it now.
Thanks. It's called Matcha and Vanilla. Okay. Alright, so number 3 is... Do I have it?
You've got a prop?
No.
You don't?
I used to have it. Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's where we are.
So you probably know what the next 2 are, but anyway, I thought Princess Mononoke was going to be number 2, but anyway, it's number 3, and with a score of 8.3 from 416,000.
That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of rare because it's about a boy, as opposed to like a teenage boy.
Yeah. Even though the title's a girl's name.
I know. Princess Mononoke doesn't appear very much in the movie.
Elusive.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit sad at the beginning where they're saying like, well, okay, kid, go out into the world and find out why our men folk are getting less and less strong. But he's supposed to find out what happened, but then he can't come back to the village because if he comes back, they'll treat him as a demon. So that part I didn't quite.
Oh really? Oh, is that because he got the demon juice on him?
Oh yes, that's right.
He got gored by a zombie pig.
Yeah. Now speaking of why I do dumb things, so we went to. You've probably been to Issei, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Before we went to the shrine, we stayed at this hotel with a beautiful planetarium, and we looked up at Jupiter, and that was very nice. But it was also around the time that the boars were breeding, and there was a beautiful garden. And now they did tell us, they warned us, don't go out into the garden, but we didn't see anything, so we were like, oh, let's go in the garden. And then this, like in the movie, this mother boar comes charging for us, and we do make it back inside, like just in time, but yeah, we could have lost our legs.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a dumb...
Been bored to death.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like this horrible traumatic.
Chin.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, so that...
Don't mess with the wild boars, especially if they've got zombie juice in them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the message to Princess Mononoke.
Well, we talk about Totoro. We're saying that the forest is quite a welcoming place.
Yeah.
This is not that.
No.
If there's any antagonist, it'd be
that's
like,
the opposite.
Mother Nature doesn't mess around. So you're going to be killed.
That's right, and don't mess around with the deer in Nara either.
Right, especially giant jelly ones. They're going to
That's right.
mess you up.
That's right.
Going to cause an apocalypse by.
Yeah, but I liked. So speaking of the dub, Minnie Driver is the voice of the woman.
It's Minnie Driver, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which one's Gillian Anderson does one, doesn't she? Is that Nazca?
She's.
Or is it Uma Thurman?
No, she is in one.
Sorry,
yeah.
derailed this already. Okay,
No,
Minnie
right.
Driver. Okay.
But anyway, Minnie Driver does very well. But that, I think it's their strongest villain because she has a point of view. Like she's kind of the hero of her story. Like she's a good antagonist. Let's say because
it's not like I don't know. I always drag Disney through the devil. It's like. Or like they're trying to do these days where it's like this person's bad.
Right.
It's black and white, but also well you can kind of see what they're.
Yeah.
This is more like, well, this is just a person going off in a different direction.
Yeah. Their goal is different from the main character. From
she's just trying to sort of take care of the village, I suppose.
That's right, and she's giving jobs to people who wouldn't normally have jobs. So.
Oh yeah, it goes with all those like lepers and.
Yeah. So there's like there is like a it's kind of interesting, even though she sort of destroys the forest in the end, but
it's easily identifiable as the antagonist, but it's like
it's not like you're prettier than me, so I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
Here's a poison apple.
Right.
Even though I love Snow White, but it's not that. Right. Okay, so number 2 is a bit of a surprise, but maybe not a surprise. Isao comes back with Grave of the Fireflies.
Okay.
Which is definitely a one and done for me. Like, I'll never watch that again.
Really?
No. It's a beautiful movie, and I get why it's number 2. So it's got 8.5 from 296,000 votes.
I think if you're going for like the critical acclaim Ghibli movie, that's probably the one.
That's probably the one.
Right.
Yeah, like it should have got the Oscar. But I think that's before they had an animated category.
86 or something.
Yeah. No, it came out at the same time as Totoro, and they played back to back.
It's insane, isn't it? Kind of.
That's why the theory.
How do you sell that?
But that's why the theory is that they're all dead, because they were played as one sort of package. So that's why people go But because even though Totoro is kind of like the sweet thing to sort of wash down the bitter pill that is Grave of the Fireflies, because I was like, Fireflies, that sounds wonderful, and the bits you see from the movie, there are magical moments.
Fireflies sounds wonderful. You're skipping over the grave part.
I know.
Oh, dead fireflies. This is nice.
I don't know. It seemed anyway. I went into that one not knowing what I was getting.
It's almost hard. You obviously feel that too. But it's harder to watch it again because you know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, it's going to destroy you.
Got that weight on it.
Yeah.
I've watched it a few times
Have
now.
you?
I just.
Tougher than me.
It's a hard. Oh, wow, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to watch, and
it's a good movie.
Especially we're living in Osaka, and it's set in Nishinoya, I think.
Is it? Oh yeah, that's right. It's set around Kobe.
Just 20 minutes away, and that's some of the students come from there.
That's right.
It kind of makes it. I mean, you don't need that to make it feel real,
no,
but it's
Is that the one that has the earthquake? I forget which one has the.
Wind Rises has the earthquake.
Wind Rises has the Hanshin earthquake.
Yeah, so Grave of the Fireflies is about like the firebombing of
Tokyo, or
in Kobe or around there, right?
Yeah, it's about the firebombing, and the kids.
They escape to the country and
they have this very very traditional kind of sugar sweet that you can still buy, but like it's like incredibly old fashioned in the same tin.
Little drops, cough drops. Was it board sweets?
Sort of cough droppy sort of things.
So it'll
the trouble is
take you through it, won't it?
It will. The problem is like if I ever have those cough droppy things, I always think of the movie now. So it makes
some hot water in it.
Yeah, that's right.
The last bit.
That's right.
Takes them out over several weeks. Yeah, it's heavy going.
But it's a brilliant movie. Like if you haven't watched it, you have to watch it.
Right.
So it's like you've got to eat your broccoli. Like you've got to watch the movie.
Yeah, it's going to be good for you.
Absolutely.
I think if you want to see something like that, the only other film I've seen that's going in the direction is called I think it's In This Corner of the World. Have you seen that?
No.
That's based around Hiroshima and obviously what's happening there. That's pretty brutal as well. But and really long as well, so 3 hours.
So if you want something shorter, watch my movie called American Piano, which is only 20 minutes long, which is also set in Japan during World War II, about a girl who plays the piano for POWs, Allied POWs. Okay, so number one, it's no big... You're not going to win any prizes for guessing which one it is, because it was voted number one.
Resounding victory.
Yeah, 8.6. So just about the votes is like nearly 1 million, like 811,000 votes.
That's the most of any of them.
That's the most of any of them. So, and that's more votes than any of the Disney ones. So, it's
really
very popular. I mean, I guess you've got that.
It's
that
2001. It's just when the IMDB age is starting. So
so that's probably why. And it's also got the no face with the meme of him getting all of his feelings. So I think it appeals to people who like using the internet. Is that a nice way to say it? Anyway, I have 2 copies of it because this is an interesting one because Japanese people always say it's hard to understand. But when I first watched it, I saw it as an Alice in Wonderland story.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Bit of a spoiled, kind of girly, irritating, girly,
It's sort of going
whiny.
Into Wonderland and coming out, sort of. Yeah, I mean, like I identify with stories like this because I moved around a lot as a kid, so. Any story which is about moving to a new town, it sort of has that. I identify with that feeling, but the part that's kind of, I guess, some parts of the hard to understand is that, like, there's the joke at the onsen, the hot springs, where, like, so the Japanese word "yu" is for hot water. But the kanji for hot water is not the kanji that's used on the flag. The kanji that's used on the flag also reads as "yu," but it means hot oil.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little funny joke in the movie.
Okay.
And
lost on me.
Yeah.
You get a lot of hot oil treatment.
Oh, well, just like it means that they're boiling in oil. So.
Oh wow.
So,
Scream.
It's like a funny
It's
little...
the theory they're all dead as well.
No, because they're all
deep fried.
No, but they're spirits, so they're all dead anyway.
The twist, they're all deep fried.
But because I think because my partner was saying that this is something that parents will tell kids that don't play late out at night, don't go on your own because the spirits will you know.
Spirit You Away.
Yeah, Spirit You Away, Kaze Tachinu. You'll be
that's
taken away with the wind. Oh, sorry. What is it?
Kamikakushi.
Kami Kakushi. Yeah, the gods will take you away.
Well, the wind does rise though, so be careful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, well, there's nothing like your first time, is there?
No.
This is my first Ghibli.
Yeah, so this is our gateway drug.
Yeah, and it's one of... It does sound a bit redundant to say it's a very Japanese movie. Like the folklore and the characters and things like that.
Yeah.
The idea of all the spirits having their... That's not something we really have that much.
Yeah, like, you know, the like there's the radish spirit, so like,
right.
So it's very, very Shinto, isn't it?
Right, and it's sort of a film that Westerners kind of have to just accept and go along with.
Yeah.
Just enjoy, just immerse yourself in the...
And in that sense, maybe we don't understand it, but we go along with it easier than maybe a Japanese audience who's like, it includes a lot of mythology that maybe is a little bit older.
But I don't think, like, at the core, the story is particularly hard to understand.
No.
Well, you just relate it to Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It's not like a complicated story.
No.
But it's just the dressings of it are quite fantastical in a way that we're not used to.
Right. Because, like, the no-face, you know, I grew up with that from Chinese mythology. Because, you know, when I was sick, my mum used to play this tape of folklore from around the world, and that's one of them.
It's a bit scary to watch when you've got a fever.
Yeah. But, it's just that thing of, like... Because I knew as soon as he was giving out gold, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not real, and you're going to... Yep, and then he eats them, and I was like, yep, I knew that.
Right.
So...
Cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't go after the gold. But then it's also kind of nice in the sense of, like, you know, don't take people at face value because, you know, obviously the slime creature, you know, when they find out it's not actually a slime creature, it's a river creature.
It's a bit scary looking, but...
Yeah. It is. It's still scary at the end, but there is sort of a niceness to it, like, you know, she kind of conquers this world.
And even if you just rewatch it and you obviously know what's going to happen, but a lot of Ghibli movies are quite dense in their art, so you can always find something that's new that you haven't seen. It's
it's very rewatchable.
Yeah.
And then you do sort of notice that because obviously, you know, bathhouses do have ladies of the night that work there. And you do see them in the movie, but they're all in the background, so it's like you don't have to notice it if you don't notice it. But of course, when she leaves on the wrong floor at one point, and she sees some shadowy figures, and you hear some noises, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, I'm obviously too naive for just watching these. It's like, oh, magical. So I'll look out for that next time.
Yeah, so next time, because you're mentioning, like, you know, oh, there's not things for adults. It's like, well, yeah, Spirited Away does have a couple of things for adults in the background.
Yeah. Well, that's
But, you know, because that's, you know, because you can kind of see it here with her name, Chihiro, and then you take that part and it becomes Sen. That is something that servants did, or slaves, I guess,
did. Their identity.
Yeah, so like you're given a new name. This happens in like Japanese theatre, so it is sort of that same thing. Like you're tied to that company now. So there's a lot to unpack, let's say, which is I think what Japanese people mean when they say, "Oh, it's hard to understand."
There's other bits in there that you...
But you don't have to understand it to enjoy it.
There's always levels you can enjoy Ghibli movies on, I think.
Yeah.
Mostly. Well, the ones that work best, I think.
Right. Yeah. So, like, because, like, in that initial review, if you remember, like, the clip that I watched, which is the very first Ghibli clip I watched, was her going to Yubaba's house and, like, her bowing to the street lamp. Like, there's like a lamp thing and they bow, and I was like, I was like so intrigued by that. So like the thing that you don't understand in the dub that you get here in the is that they are the same person.
Oh, are they? The two old ladies?
Yeah. So one is like, this is, there's kind of like the night grandma and then the day grandma.
Well, the night grandma, that's what's going on upstairs.
Yeah, the yubaba. But, and, she flies between it. But in the dub, they're sisters.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm just opening my eyes now.
So, but
I don't really spell it out that much in the subtitle one. But
no, but it is there.
I didn't think about her flying off. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
The more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of sort of adulty things that you don't get, is I remember watching Howl's Moving Castle, and going like, why are they saying like there's two guys accosting Sophie and saying, come and have a cup of tea. And it's like, oh. So in Japanese, ocha nomimasu ka is our, nightcap. Or, would you like to come up for a cup of coffee? So that's where, like, even though my Japanese is not very good, I've lived in the culture long enough to be able to say to some of these, translators in the US who don't live in Japan, it's like, hey, guess what? You don't directly translate this. Translate it as coffee, not tea, or nightcap, or something.
Netflix and chill. Netflix and...
That's right, that's
something.
these days. Yeah. Have a bit of Netflix and chill.
Netflix and salt.
There you go. And on that note, do you want to go over your list?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to go through everything, because it's going to be... We were talking about editing films earlier. We were like an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
So at the bottom of my list, I've got Tales from Earthsea, Earwig and the Witch, and Ariete, sorry.
That's alright.
And, yeah.
Oh, Marnie. Yeah, I didn't...
Marnie, yeah, I don't know Marnie turned up, but...
Yeah.
Marnie was the first one I watched in the cinema in Japan. And I had the same experience as you had with Windrise as well.
Right.
Didn't really follow what was going on.
So, yeah, let me check Marnie. Wait a minute.
Marnie do. I think Marnie's based on an English book again. It's quite nice. It's just
when Marnie
was there.
Yeah. 2014.
She do probably not that
7.7. So she should have been on the list.
So sort of mid-table.
Yeah.
That's
So
not that
40.
high, really.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah,
so
it's fine.
So this would have bumped Goro off the list.
Oh, would it? Well, that's... Well, I'm glad it didn't.
So.
But, yeah, in the middle of my list, 18, Howl's Moving Castle.
Oops. That's alright.
Wind Rises. I mean, I don't think... My top 20, I'd say none of them are bad.
No.
Maybe Ocean Waves. Have you ever heard Ocean Waves before?
No, what's that?
It was like a TV movie.
Mm.
And it's only like an hour long as well. It's sort of set in Kochi Prefecture.
Right, I probably said that that's like a short film, so it doesn't...
Right, yeah.
Didn't count.
Did they get a score?
6.6, so I wouldn't have made it on the list.
Stinky sense, yeah. Any other big shockers?
How do you live?
Oh, Mononoke at 14.
Oh, there
Which
you
is,
go.
I can appreciate it for what it is. I enjoy it, but
it's not
scratching my brain in the same way as other ones. Porco Rosso's just outside too. Cat Returns is 12. I think that's probably controversial.
But again, that was a short film, so I didn't include the shorts because some of the shorts are really highly rated. That's 7.1. So if I had included it, because you could argue.
I guess it's not a particularly Ghibli-esque movie in some ways.
But you've got.
It's a bit fluffy throwaway, but it's still pretty good.
So
actually, I put it just below Whisper of the Heart. So
there you go.
And Poppy Hill made my number 10.
Oh, so maybe I should watch it.
Justice for Poppy Hill. Grave of the Fireflies was really hard to rank because it's not what I go to Ghibli for, but I can still appreciate it for what it is. So 9 was sort of like a trade-off, really.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like, because if you're going to do like critical ratings.
It's a different scale,
It's a different scale, and like that's why, because people always say like, why is Citizen Kane number one of all these lists? And it's because it influenced so many other films. Even though I've tried to watch it twice and slept through it twice,
Right.
So
yeah,
I think
it's just one of those films that becomes famous for being highly acclaimed in the
Yeah.
end. Sort of,
and I think the
it's like
Simpsons
John
did the
Lennon's
story.
Imagine of films.
Yeah.
So you can't say anything about it now.
No, but
I'm going to say it here because I'm going to get dragged.
It's not my favourite song either.
More popular, yeah, Grave of the Fireflies. Yeah, I'm really in the mood for. I don't come home from work and think, oh, I really want to watch something harrowing today. You know.
Yeah, that's why Schindler's List has gone unwatched for me.
And that was one of my COVID rewatches.
Oh, there you go.
It's been a while. Let's give that a reheat.
Give it a go.
Pompoko.
Yeah, that was a bit. That was a bit
was
low.
Lost in the Mix, was it?
It was a bit.
With the little tiny keys with their big balls.
That's right.
Stretching out to parachutes and floor mats.
I would like to watch it, but it's sort of in the sixes.
Oh, okay. I like that a lot. That's a little bit long as well. Longer than it needs to be. Totoro 7. Ponyo 6. Oh, that's funny. I don't know what I said. I think I just get more enjoyment out of Ponyo, but
I should give it a rewatch.
if it had been a few years before, I think Totoro might have been even further down. So it's kind of on the rebound for me now.
Okay. There you go.
Again, I have to be in the right mood for it.
Mm.
Only Yesterday, number 5. That's my.
There you go. So Isao.
I don't know if I'm just being contrarian. I just want to have
maybe.
something like, oh, we haven't seen it. Oh well. I don't be like that. I don't want to be that.
No, but it sounds like you appreciate Isao's films.
I do. You know, it's a not a big list, but it's very varied.
Yeah.
Very varied. I think. Yeah. What else? 4, Kiki. Number 3, Castle in the Sky.
Castle in the Sky. We've said it now.
I think all of the top 3 I could say were my favourite at some point. So Spirited Away was number 2. Nausicaa's my number 1.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I don't know if that's a bit. I don't know what element of that is. I can't put Spirited Away at number 1. That's such a cliche.
Well, I mean, it is a bit.
Contrary Mary.
But Nausicaa was the first official Ghibli studio movie. So I kind of like with the Disney list. I thought that Snow White should have been number 1. I agree with that, because that's without Nausicaa there would be no others.
But I might be revising history a bit. I can't remember when I got that bootleg DVD thing. If that's before or after I saw Spirited Away. I think it was probably after.
Probably after.
I'd heard about Spirited Away, and then I think that was on the bootleg collection, so I might have watched it in order. I don't know. So Nausicaa might have been my first Ghibli movie, and that kind of had a big impact on me. And it's got a lot of. It's weird to say nostalgia because I'm not Japanese, and I wasn't there at the time.
No, but sentimental value.
Yeah, because it puts me in a certain time in my life.
Yeah.
I like how sort of sparse it is. Even the music. I mean, if you watch Western animation, there's always some incidental music going on, telling you what you should be thinking. Nausicaa's, there's a lot of silence.
Yeah.
I think that's something Ghibli does well. You have like moments of silence that you just kind of enjoying what's happening. No one's talking. You just sort of
a blank space. So, thank you so much. What do you think? So, if you've enjoyed David on this video, you should watch more of him and David in Osaka. David in Osaka.
In Osaka.
Yeah.
David as well. Before I signed it up, there's a Dave in Osaka already.
Yeah.
And so, I think people are finding him instead. So.
Right, because
Don't go to David in Osaka.
That's right. So I'll recommend the Ghibli videos, obviously, but the recent one, Ranking Chicken, is a fun one too.
Yeah, tried a lot of chicken. And, I've also been to the Ghibli Park as well. There's a couple of videos about that.
So I'll try and link them all in the description.
Oh, thank you very much.
So thank you so much.
Slightly attention.
Thank you. So thank you for this feature-length discussion about Ghibli.
See you.
See you.